What's going on, guys? Ball here. Welcome to a new video. Today we're doing a quick preview of the IEM Krakow playoffs. Obviously, a few underdogs like G2 and Aurora being teams that I thought would just miss out, but they managed to sneak through. And we have four of the best teams in the world: Fear, Mouse, Spirit, Vitality. Obviously, missing Falcons, missing Navi, but generally we have four of the six best teams. And even Aurora, G2 are teams who G2 I had in my top 10 that I do on Medium. I might link in the description below. But Aurora, I think maybe a few iterations ago, it was like number 8 at one point, but they haven't been there for a little bit. But still, we have a pretty strong playoffs overall. The problem is I don't see a universe Vitality doesn't win the tournament. Like, I think Vitality can have resistance if everything goes right, but there's just so little ways I think Vitality can lose. But let's just break it down. First game will be Aurora versus Furia. For mods, Auroras look better. They're the only team to even have a competitive map against Vitality. They had 3 match points on Ancient, but couldn't close it out. Fury have limped the whole tournament. They got banged up by Fury 2-0, sorry. They had 3 match points against them against Mongols. They dropped the map to Navi. And then the Charlotte series, they barely won that Mirage game. Even that Nuke game, like Charlotte were making a comeback at the end. Like that was Fury looked limp the whole tournament. And yes, if this is a studio quarterfinal, I'm picking Aurora every day of the week. Because both teams are going to play maps they can play. Because both teams are going to try and float Ancient. I doubt one of them will do a first Ancient ban. Because both these teams, have played a competitive game Ancient within the last couple months. Because Aurora had played their first Ancient game since 2024 with the old Calyx lineup, but they at least looked okay on it. They got rounds on against Vitality. Fury barely beat Vitality themselves. Like, it's a universe where I think both will float it. I doubt one of them will pick it, but I think they'll float it. Aurora probably will ban one of Mirage or Inferno, because no, I will ban Mirage. I think Fury don't want to play it. They'll ban one of Inferno or Nuke. I think Aurora should ban Nuke. I think Fury's Nuke is the one of the few maps that hasn't betrayed them since the slump period. And I saw in the end of Straw, I think an end game is long because they can lock down CT. I would just get rid of it. You have no chance on it. Aurora could play Nuke. They're not bad on it, but it's always a map that's like on the 4th, 5th best maps. And it's Fury's best map right now, considering how like they dropped out on Overpass, their issues on Mirage, how they obviously lost to Navi on Inferno. I think Aurora have enough chances on the other maps. Fury should just get rid of Anubis. Yes, Fury the old lineup before with the old Anubis before this year when it was still in the pool, they were decent on it. It was like their third best map. They even actually beat this core Aurora in the 3rd place game against at Astana. So they absolutely can play Anubis. And they even won both games they played before the update. So they sort of could compete on Anubis. But Fury should know mentally, we might be a favorite on every other map here, while Anubis is like a 50-50. Like there's no, and Aurora aren't world beaters on Mirage. So we might even be able to sneak it as a second rotation ban. So I think Fury should keep it simple, ban Anubis, don't take the risk, because Aurora could beat anyone in the world. I think their lifetime record with this core since the Jodo app and the 2 times they played with Soulfly to be specific, they're like 26-6 or something mad like that. Even lifetime with Calyx, they're like 39-17 or 40-17. They're monsters on it. They are gods on Anubis. They're like at times like 85% win rate. You don't want to fuck them on it, right? And then we go to like the picks. I think there's like a shake hands, like Dust 2 Inferno Overpass. I think neither want to play Mirage, neither want to play Ancient. I doubt either want to pick it. Like, I think Aurora should pick Dust 2, even though Fury love it, just because what other map is Aurora like in love with in this veto? Dust 2 is their second best map. They should keep it simple. I don't think they overthink it. Fury should just I would say pick Inferno. Did they pick Inferno? I think they probably should. Even though, yes, Aurora have beaten Falcons and Mouse on it. Both those games, they won both pistols or forced by. They had like 3-0, 3-1 starts in both halves. Aurora haven't been testing in gun rounds on either of those maps. And Fury have shown they can play Inferno the last couple months. They absolutely can still compete on it. They've won multiple Inferno since Vitality late last year. I would still pick it. And then the decider, I think, has to be Overpass because neither wants to play Mirage, neither going to play Ancient. The problem here is, again, if it's a studio, I think Aurora can win it. But because it's a stage, Aurora's record, I think on stage is like 1-6, 1-7. And some of these games are like favorites in some of these games. I mean, most of them are not favorites, but they're like probably favorites on like about half of these games. They've only won one of them. And they're losing like Dead Team, Team Liquid. They lose the Falcons with Dexter. Okay, some of these are against like good teams, fair enough. Like losing to Miles, Lisbon's fine. Losing to Mongols, I think twice is fine. Those are at best 50-50s if not underdogs. But like some of these are like their favorites, and they just couldn't win. Like Navi Copenhagen, that's like a coin flip, roughly. Like there's not many of these games besides maybe the Mouse ones. They're like a clear underdog. And Fury's form is bad, but I know Fury can win on stage. So I'm going to pick Furia. I actually will pick Furia 2-0. Because on top of that, Soulfly has been clearly their best player. Xantar's had good games, and Wakai's had a couple good games, but Soulfly's been the best player. Soulfly's never played in front of an arena before. So expecting Soulfly's great tournament. Even in the series they lost to Vitality. In the H game, he did have a bunch of good rounds. He played well. His good form seems to be reliable, But in front of a crowd, people are going to get nervous. They're going to make mistakes, and Aurora are known for making mistakes even in studios. And Fury, even with all their issues, at this point, all of the 3 stars have had good games. Like Kisar's had a good group stage. Moy's had some good series. Ikino farmed Mongols and Navi. Like they've all had enough good games where I think the 5 power somewhat back, and they have enough good maps. And they got 3 maps that both teams can play. I give Fury the edge. Aurora can maybe win a map. There's even a universe if everything goes right. Like if Woxy finally turns up to the tournament. If Akai is consistent across 2, which is possible, but I'll bet against it. And Zatara doesn't have some of the stage choking. If you get like some of the fragments we see from Madrid this event, admittedly not so much in the Vitality series, but in the Malzahn and the Falcon series, even some of the playing games, you saw some good games from Madrid. But I think the Aurora 5 power is not sustainable because everyone's had at least a couple, besides Woxy, has had a couple good games at least at this point, both either in the Play Plus groups or mainly in the groups, for example. But I think Fury have enough quality where I think they'll win. 2-0 is just because I just have no faith in Aurora in front of crowds, but they can maybe win a map. G2 Miles, I think, should go 3 because Miles picked Inferno. Yes, G2 in the past loved Inferno, but considering they got banged up by Team Liquid, they're stand-in, and they haven't played much Inferno. They didn't honestly play a single Inferno game since at this point in the tournament. I don't think they even picked Inferno against Passion either. They played one game of Inferno recently, and the 2 times they played Inferno back at Budapest, they got crushed by Fury and they got crushed by Falcon. So they've been bleeding losses on it for a while. And Miles' one reliable map right now is Inferno. Ignoring the loss to Aurora, where they lost both pistols and second rounds, and they lost some bad force buys. In gun rounds, they actually looked fine. They beat Falcons nearly in overtime. I think they won both pistols, but still were able to clutch them. They crushed FaZe on it. They looked like it's probably their best map, and they're like, no, this is a team that's like going back and forth with Vitality on Inferno, and those guys are monsters on it. They're crushing Fury on it back at Chengdu. I trust them on. G2's Dust 2 is their one reliable map right now. Miles barely play it. Yes, they've won 2 out of 3 games they played so far, but that Falcons game they had to win so many man disadvantage rounds. Falcons had 2 match points. Like that was a game Falcons probably should have won, and the NRG game wasn't clean, and they got banged up by Aurora. I think G2 should have won that. Yes, G2 lost to Spirit in overtime, but that was a game, like that was a messy game from both teams. G2 had some chances. They were up like at one point they were up like 11-10 at one point in that game, and they had the economy advantage. They lost a super run to pistols late, but probably should go 3. Decider, if it goes to, because 3 maps left, there's Overpass, Ancient, and Mirage. I assume G2 does the Overpass ban because they don't like it. I get rid of it. Ancient or Mirage. If it goes to if it's Ancient, I actually might give G2 the edge. If Mouse pick properly and make it Mirage, I favor Mouse slightly. The record isn't that good because they just basically only play Spirit and Falcons, who are like world class on Mirage, but I give Mouse in 3. I think they win in 3. Spirit Furia, this is a matchup I've been wanting to see since Furia's rise to becoming a contender for best in the world. This is one match we haven't seen recently. The last time they played was online at Blast London with the old lineup with Zontix and Zwei. And before that, they played when they still had Magic and Zontix and Chopper in the lineup way back in Astana in the semifinal game. And that was literally Furia's first event. So it's been so long since they've played that this match I want to see. Spirit played everyone. They played Falcons, Vitality, Mouse. They played enough against the field, but this is one match we haven't seen recently. So this easily could be 3 matches. For my Spirit's better, but also if I trust Fury in crowds pretty reliably. Like they don't choke in front of crowds too often. Like the one time I've seen them ever get beat up in front of crowd was when they played G2 and Blast London, where some pious like farmed them super hard. But otherwise, they're at least competitive on crowds. Like they lost to Pain, they choked it. Yes, it was an overtime decider still, right? Yeah, they lost to Malzahn Clone, they choked to Mad Leap, but that was still 13-11 and double OT in the first match. Yeah, they've lost they lost some crowd games. Even Suzuki and Navi at least managed to snag a map before falling apart in the 3rd map. So I actually trust Furia generally in front of crowds at this point. And the key thing about the veto is I think Furia picks Nuke, they win that, right? I think I trust them enough on Nuke, and the record is good enough that like a lot of teams are scared to play them on Nuke. So I'll give them Nuke, right? Spirit should probably pick Mirage and win on it, so it should be 1-1. Deciders, there's some options here. There's like Overpass, Anubis, and I think Dust 2. If it goes to Overpass, I favor Spirit slightly because Fury have been bleeding Overpass losses for a little bit. Like they haven't played it much. They played once this year. They lost a foot handily. They barely beat Pain in the semifinal of Rivals. They lost some Vitality in overtime in the groups on that map. They barely beat Mongols and Vitality in Chengdu. Those are close wins. It's not like they've been like amazing on Overpass recently. I trust Donk. I don't think Donk's got 2 terrible Overpass games in a row. Like I think that game against G2 was an outlier. And Shiro is always been good on that map. Zontik's been solid on that map historically. Like I trust them enough on it where I think he can win Overpass as a decider. But if Fury ban it properly and then it's between Dust 2 or Anubis, I actually think Fury can win both. Fragging goes to Spirit, but I think Fury's consistency on Dust 2 shouldn't be ignored, even with the loss to Foot. And like that game against G2 was so messy. Like so messy. It's not like they played And going to overtime against the Straws, who are not even a Dust 2 team, like they're not even like some solid Dust team on that map. It's probably the worst map. Does worry me a little. And then Anubis Decider, like the game of G2 looked good, but like still slightly messy, but it looked good. If it was Dust 2, I actually think it's so close to call. Form says Spirit. I'm gambling. I think Fury wins in 3. I'm gonna gamble here actually. I think this is a hard call. Form says Spirit wins, but I'm picking Fury. Vitality Maus. If this was the old map pool train, this could be a great game. They play 2 great series of Chengdu. They split games. Maus went to Cologne. Vitality beat them in London. So this could be a really good matchup if it's the old map pool. But with Dust 2 back and train out, there's too many maps in this pool. I think Vitality are like auto wins on. Like Maus has to do the Anubis man because Vitality at least could play Anubis. They played twice. Maybe they haven't played the new version, but they played the over twice this year. They won both times. Maybe the eyeballs game they should have lost, but still, wins are wins. And Vitality did the Ancient Band, which okay, Maus aren't great on, but they at least be NRG on, so they could play it. Vitality basically starts 1-0 up because they're Dust 2 historic. They're like 34-4, I think, lifetime with Rops. Maus have won the majority of the time they played this event, but they aren't even clean wins, and they got banged out by Aurora, who's clearly worse than it compared to Vitality, who's best world on that map. So it should be 1-0 Vitality. Maus can steal Inferno. I think they're good enough on it, even with like the loss of Aurora. I think Vitality haven't played that many Inferno games recently. They crushed 3D Max, but that game I felt like Vitality had too much of a good start. The rest couldn't quite get in the game early on. There's too many rounds behind early. Like Vitality could absolutely win that. They've won that before, but Maus can steal that. It's doable. But the problem is like what decider are they favored on? Mirage I favorite Vitality, Overpass favorite Vitality. Like Nuke, maybe Maus can steal, but like if Vitality do a smart veto, I think they should be at best 2-1. I might even say 2-0. Spirit Maus tiebreaker. I think this is like 2-1 Spirit because they've won last 4 times running. More times not Maus could take a map. I think if Maus picks them like Nuke, I think they could steal it, but I think any decider for Spirit. Fury Vitality best of 5. Again, form says Vitality should win. History says Fury should win. If Fury play well enough against Aurora Spirit, they can win. But Vitality look too good. They look too consistent. Their map pool actually is a decent. Fury actually have a good draw into Vitality because both teams are going to flow Ancient. I mean, Fury can get rid of Dust 2 immediately, or get rid of Mirage. I would get rid of Mirage. Fury's looked dreadful on it. I would just get rid of it. I wouldn't overthink it. It's probably win the last 2 games on it. The game with Strauss was too close. Moldoy won the Mirage against Navi by himself. And Vitality are monsters on it. Their seat side is so locked down on this map. Especially if it comes to being like a decider and Vitality win the knife for CT, I think that's dangerous. Get rid of it. I think Vitality should get rid of Anubis. Don't take the risk. Fury then probably picks Nuke. I think they win that. Vitality picks whichever Mirage Dust 2 isn't banned, they pick and win on it. So let's say this Dust 2 they pick and they win on it. Overpass favors Vitality. Inferno, I might favor Fury because Vitality's been avoiding Inferno the last couple months. Like they didn't play it that many times in the major. Put a couple times, but the DMX Navi was close. Fury's pretty consistent on it. Admittedly not playing all the top teams on it, but they're consistent on it. And it goes like a decider Ancient. I'll say 3-1 Vitality. I think Fury can take one of Nuke or Inferno, but I don't think the fragging is good enough to keep it to like that. Vitality's individuals are too good right now. Like, there's even a universe Vitality wins 3-0 if everyone's super locked in, but I'll give Fury that the quality and like the team is good enough and they showed enough quality where they can take a map. But Vitality should be your Krakow champions. Like, they should be if everything goes right. If you guys do enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.